I need to get something to do with that.
Lights, camera, action. Yeah, the show before the show. Here we are. Hi, Lizzie.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Lights, camera, action. Yeah, the show before the show.
Lizzie, you're going to have to mute your speaker.
I just did it.
Good morning, Derek and Karen, Robert, Bendy, Mike, all. Good morning to you this morning. Lizzie, what'd you and David do last night?
We went neon mini golfing, and we went to an escape room.
You went to the what?
We went to an escape room.
Oh, I've done that before.
Yeah, I had never done that, and it was the insane asylum, so we fit right in.
Yeah, make sure you have some very good critical thinkers with you if you do that.
Yes.
Hey, Ben. Good morning, bud. Haven't seen you in a while. JETS, Jets tonight, first preseason game. Hey, Burgundy, good morning. Getting ready to get going. Can't wait. We've got another guest co-host in the 9 o'clock hour today with us, Nicole Jenkins, owner of Veterans Advantage Urgent Care. She'll be in studio. Ben says at Wendy's, watch the Jets tonight. JETS, Jets. Aaron Rodgers. I wonder if he's going to get any snaps for us sports guys. Karen says I just did an escape room, Lizzie. You see that, Lizzie?
Yes, I did. Oh, you didn't make it out in time? We actually made it out in record time, they said, and made us take our picture and all that. And it wasn't because of me, because I didn't get it all. My 14-year-old.
It was because of David, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, always.
Of course it was. The dude's a genius. He'll be making appearances with us from time to time. He disappeared. I saw him up today. I was like, when Steve comes on, I thought it would be too many boxes, but he disappeared too quickly, Lizzie. Right.
Well, it did. It didn't look good, and his sound kept interfering with my sound.
Mary Jo says, Vic, who is your favorite team? When it comes to the NFL, that is the team that has been picked to win NFC North this year. They've been picked to win the NFC North. That is the super successful Detroit Lions. I covered when I was also a sports guy before I became a news guy, and I covered the first 0-16 season ever by an NFL team in Detroit. It was the bane of my existence. Every Monday or Tuesday going in for media day when they got to be 0-10 and you looked at the schedule, you're like, truck, these guys are going to go 0-16, and you kind of knew it. So you'd have to come up with different questions and try it. And they knew they were going 0-16. So somehow, some way, it was an endearment issue for me. My youngest son was born in the D, as he tells me, Dad, I was born in the D. Get me a Rodman jersey. I'm a Red Wings fan. He's like, the Tigers are okay. And I can't stand that cocky school called Michigan, but I like these Spartans. So anyway, I passed on a love of football because we're a football family. And go figure, I gave him the Detroit Lions. So for the first time in a long time, the Lions appear to be good. We'll see. So there's your answer to the question. Robert says it was the Ford Lions then. In-laws running it now. Oh, that's the difference. And we do have a lot of listeners and viewers in the Michigan area. Speaking of which, next week, we're going to have on, if you didn't realize yet, we cover politics from all over the country, from all over the world. We focus on St. Louis City, St. Louis County, Missouri. But you want to talk about some craziness going on these days where people are really fighting the good fight. When you talk about being a patriot, when you talk about freedom issues, go to the state of Michigan, where Gretchen Whitmer is the governor, and she is one of the hardest far left people you will ever meet against freedom by her own signing of laws against patriots. It would blow your mind. I'm just going to tell you, I'm just looking it up right now. Next week, we're going to have on, where is he? Oh, to explain, Shane Trejo. Shane Trejo is going to join us. He's in the political scene in Michigan, and it will blow your mind what they're trying to do to certain individuals, literally trying to have them arrested in the whole situation of what's going on there. So anyway, we've got that going on. Let's see here. So Nicole Jenkins in at 9, Stephen King at 8:15. This is the show before the show. Glad everybody's here. But I'm just finishing up a couple things here. And of course, Tom Brady now getting involved in a soccer team in Europe. Go figure, Lizzie. Of course, that's what all the cool people are doing now. Get a soccer
All the cool
team.
people. Soccer's really cool now.
Let's get a soccer team. All right, let's go ahead and start the show. All right. Appreciate it, buddy. Hey guys, welcome in to cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks alongside from Gulf Shores, Alabama. Pro Joe running the boards as always, coming up at 8:15. Stephen King from Metro Shooting Supply will be in studio. And we got a couple different gun issues to talk about. Plus, what's the latest with his battle with MSD? That from the state of Missouri, but it doesn't have to be the state of Missouri. It could be any state in the country where people are dealing with those issues. Coming up at 9 o'clock, Nicole Jenkins. She'll be alongside. Guest hosting today, of course, very popular. The owner of Veterans Advantage Urgent Care should be rocking and rolling the show with us a little bit later. So we're glad to have that alongside. Once again, this is Cancel This. CancelTheShow.com. You can catch us Monday through Friday live, 8 to 10 a.m. Central and all the time. Check out all of our original content, all of our platforms, our advertising partners as well. Just jump in, do what you do, be a part of the show. The podcast is special because of you guys. With that being said, you can send us likes. You can send us the stars on Facebook. Also, when you go on, like, subscribe, and you share the show with people or send them information from the show, it helps. It helps us get to as many people as possible. There's all kinds of platforms as we're live on. Lizzie, can you remind everybody who may be joining in again how they can watch us on Cancel This?
Absolutely. You can watch us on many, many platforms. Live today, we are on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitch, and you can interact on all those platforms.
Okay. And what about our audio?
Our audio, you can listen.
iHeart.
Yes, iHeart, Spotify, Apple, Clout Hub. There's a lot of just
Google, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, Google. Yes.
Yeah, all over the place. So
all over the place. You can go to cancelthisshow.com and find it all.
Okay. Coming up at 8:15, Steve King. 9 o'clock, Nicole Jenkins. Before we get to Steve King, and we'll touch upon it a little bit later in the show as well, but with all the craziness that's going on right now with Donald Trump and going after him, and if you didn't already know what's happening when it comes to the media, what they cover, what they don't cover, Tucker Carlson interviewed Devin Archer. He posted it last night. And for anybody that thinks Tucker's gone away, because somebody alleged that to me, I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Tucker,
no, he hasn't gone away.
Yeah, he had 17.5 million views this morning in under 18 hours just on his interview with Devin Archer. So I was like, okay, Tucker's fine. Everything's fine with that standpoint. So you see what you see going on there. But people are going to go after him as best as they can. Did I send you that photo, Joe, in regards to the amount of people or the amount of mentions that Hunter Biden has gotten on MSNBC, CNN, and so forth compared to Donald Trump? Just look at this. The Biden family corruption. as opposed to Donald Trump mentions. I have said this for years when I saw the first algorithms that get pushed when people go, oh, the media is not biased. All you have to do, our viewers can see it, and for our listeners, in recent days, 759 times Donald Trump has been mentioned. Hunter Biden, the Devon Archer mentioned, 48.
That is just crazy.
That's CNN, MSNBC, news media obsessed with Trump. They want ratings. They're going after Trump. That's because he's the most popular guy. And Lizzie, I know that you may not be the biggest Fox News fan in the world. Yesterday, I came to your side when it came to Mike Pence. And by the way, Mike Pence, he's all excited. That dumbass is posting his interview with Fox News on his own Instagram of him going after Trump as if it's a badge of honor and getting railed up and down on his own Instagram.
Yes. People are just railing him.
It makes you wonder, is he getting paid to do what he's doing? Does somebody have something on him? Because nobody in their right mind would be doing that to themselves. Hey, look at me. I'm the most unpopular guy in America on the Republican side. I'm going to promote what I just did and get ripped and say, hey, everybody, holy shit, that guy has lost his mind. Then Fox News yesterday released their own polling that 50% of Donald Trump voters now, or people who have said they would vote for Donald Trump, are now considering an alternative choice.
Yes.
Okay, Fox, we believe you. It's sad because they're starting to show their true colors.
They are.
With Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. They do such a good job in so many areas, but it's the Trump factor again. It's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Just be honest, be direct.
Correct.
Our own News Fox polling, our own specific poll now says that 50% of Republicans are considering a different choice.
Different choice.
The first picture is Ron DeSantis. I'm like, give me a break.
And he's toast. Ron DeSantis is toast. He's screwed up.
Well, we know that. It's just people don't care. They want their little lives, their restaurants, their happy hours, their kids in sports. I've lived the life. I get it. But until you wake up, until you know what's going on, people just need to get away from crap when they see it. A lot of times you don't see it. That's why we're here. We're trying to educate you on everything that's going on. Jay says, fake Russian report lied to FISA court destroyed 33,000 emails called laptop fake, and not one single charge regarding Hunter Biden and that entire situation. It is sad because we've already talked about what the DOJ is doing, what the upper echelons of the FBI are doing. And then on top of this situation that Fox coming out and doing what they're doing, did you see, I saw it come out today, one of Donald Trump's best friends is Vince McMahon. He started up, he had the most successful professional wrestling. He is the executive chairman, that's Vince McMahon, of the WWE, the World Wrestling Entertainment. Well, the federal government executed a search warrant on Vince McMahon, one of Trump's best friends. Keep that in mind. Last month, all part of an investigation into claims. Once again, all you have to do is allege something. You don't even have to have proof, but you put it out there first without any proof. And well, this is my word. This is what I'm saying. Investigation into claims of sexual misconduct.
Oh, come on.
I know. McMahon was forced, of course, to retire, if people didn't know, back in 2022. But he remained the company's majority shareholder. Now, he left, then WWE disclosed multiple expenses that McMahon hadn't reported, totaling about $19.6 million. That forced the company to revise its financial statements for the previous 3 years. Okay, fine, I get it. But then the Wall Street Journal reported in 2022 that McMahon had paid tens of millions of dollars to 4 women they alleged to cover up allegations of infidelity, or what's being referred to as misconduct. So McMahon has denied the allegations from the get-go. He said it's not there. There's no proof. Anyway, he returned to the company as a board member. And then as soon as he's returned to the company, guess what? Now federal agents are going after Vince McMahon. And it has been well documented that he is one of Donald Trump's biggest supporters financially and as a friend. And then there you go. There you go. They go after Vince McMahon. That's what can happen. If the man is so popular right now, Donald Trump, that they went after his family. They went after other people. Now they're going after his friends.
Yes, yes. And they're so obsessed with sexual talk that's the point they try to make with all of his friends.
Well, the other problem that we have with this is, and this is a massive problem, on the heels of the Sound of Freedom, as Paul says, still no published list from the pedophilia island, Epstein Island. They put all the energy into this other stuff, but not all this other BS stuff, not in to the Epstein Island. People, most of the people that are here are you're awake. You understand what's going on. But there are so many people that just don't get it. And once again, you just get comfortable in your little life and okay, whatever, I get it. And something is really messed up. You go watch The Sound of Freedom, and then you wonder why the hell we don't have the client list Epstein Island yet. Why only one person sits in prison, and it's a female.
Correct.
No males.
Not one male. I think we'd be really surprised at who's on that list. I think some we can assume, but I think if that list came out, we would be shocked as who's all on there.
Well, it just sucks. We're in a very dark time of this country, and it's all political driven. There are forces and factors that are trying to tear apart every inch of our fabric of a society in the midst of everything else going wrong. Next week, we are also going to talk, I think probably Monday at 9:00, a friend of mine, his name is Jim Eady. He's a Canadian podcaster, but he's involved in, well, he does a lot more than that, but he's involved in the pork industry. And he does newsletters and basically a reporter for everything pork related, the biggest farms and agriculture and what's going on. He said the pork industry is decimated, in shambles right now, and nobody knows. He says a lot of people are in it. No, they're talking about it, but national media refuses to cover it unless individuals are out covering it. Something bad is coming. We're not trying to scare you. We're just letting you know this is just one little piece of that pie with all the slivers in it that shows we've got a massive issue, we've got a problem, and nobody's talking about it. We try to do that here. We're going to continue to try to do that on cancelthisshow.com. Once again, I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks and Projo running the boards from an engineering standpoint. You just don't know where these things are going. You don't know what's going to happen. We do our best to bring it to you because so many of these situations are now coming up where we're trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to do from a presidential standpoint when it comes to the election, your local elections? It gets monotonous. It gets boring to talk about. We're doing our best from that standpoint. Steve King running a few minutes late. He'll be here. For those who live in the St. Louis area, understand that I-40 when there's an accident. Good luck trying to go through everything that you possibly can there. Also, Jessica says something bad is coming, question marks. It's already here.
Yes.
She says she also posted, or Paul posted something about that on his insider page. I'm not sure what Paul's talking about. I don't know if that had to do with the pork situation, the ag farms. We've talked about small farmers being pushed out. It's happening in that industry. A couple big families or big conglomerates run everything. Absolutely everything. So media doesn't even care anymore. They're just throwing out what they want to throw out because they can. And people are too afraid to push the envelope when you're told to just be happy, just sit back, just collect checks. Don't go out and try to cover all these situations. Yeah. And by the way, I agree with Jay. He says these indictments, as Fox says, are not making him less popular. They're making him more popular.
Correct.
And the more you talk wherever you are, the best. We're one outlet. There are several outlets out there doing a fantastic job of just getting truth out there, which is what we're all trying to do. It's all about truth. It's all about bringing the full story out there so people can see what the hell's going on. Because right now, it blows my mind to think about all the stories that we continue to cover that I never thought we would be covering. We talk about what's happening with policing a lot. We talk about a lack of respect for police and military. Well, Portland deserves what they get. And we've talked about Portland in the past. It makes you wonder, is anything going to change there? These are the type of stories that are happening. If you haven't seen it yet, yesterday or 2 days ago, a Portland female doctor just walking down the street gets knocked out, just walking down the street. Homeless person comes up and smashes them right in her face. She says she doesn't blame police. She's like, we don't have enough police. And she's like, this stuff happens. They're not going to go and get anybody because this is what happens. She's a radiologist, Mary Casatino, and she says, we don't have enough police. We don't have the force to protect our citizens. And we did it to ourselves, and it's only going to get worse.
Right.
Now, we have positive hope when you have politicians who are trying to stand up, different parts of the country. There is hope. There is hope in certain parts of the country. The sad part is, for me, they're red areas. We need to be united, red and blue. We talk about that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But where are the safest cities in whole? Where are the cities doing the best? They're the red cities. They're not the blue cities.
Correct. And like you and I have said before,
But local media and national media won't cover it unless you're somewhat Fox and Newsmax and OAN.
Absolutely. And while we're trying to get the blue to wake up, it's so obvious that the safest areas are red areas, and the people that are blue, they just don't see it. And I don't understand why they don't see it. It's crazy.
Do you have conversations with any of those people?
With blue people?
Yeah.
Yeah, with blue people?
We have to have the conversations and move.
Yes, I definitely had a lot more blue friends before they knew I was for Trump. So a lot of people just stopped talking to me. But now they're kind of coming back and not exactly apologizing, but actually want to have a conversation. And they'll try to prop up Biden to me. And I'm like, okay, give me what he's doing good. And they can't. So now they're back to talking to me. And like Mary's calling them Smurfs. And that is true, that they actually act like a Smurf. Democrats are Smurfs right now. But we have to cross the aisle and talk to them. We have to wake them up. Some of them won't, but little by little, they're waking up. Look at our producer. He woke up.
Joe's like, oh, leave me out of this.
Yeah, but he did. He did. He's one of those that woke up.
I do still have some blue friends that I talk to, and most of them, it's just about not liking Trump. It's really they've been conditioned over, with the propaganda that happened during his term, and yeah.
Smurfs. Who would Papa Smurf be? Biden? I mean, Obama? It has to be Obama.
Yeah, it's got to be Obama. He's the biggest Smurf of them all. And Joe, you're right. Everyone is mad just about Trump. Now, I wonder if we got someone else, would they wake up? So say if it was DeSantis.
Clumsy Smurf has to be Biden.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You got me thinking about Smurfs right now.
You're good. Smurfs are fun to talk
She
about.
is definitely clumsy, dumb,
yes,
disoriented Smurf. There would be a new Smurf.
Yes, a new Smurf.
What were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just, well, like Jeannie's saying, her blue friends are still ridiculous. And Joe's right. It's all about Donald Trump. But say we didn't elect Donald Trump and we did DeSantis or Tim Scott. Would they vilify him too? I think so.
Of course they would. They already have.
So they
have
will.
White liberals, literally white liberals, calling him Uncle Tom and all kinds of racist names.
Yes.
While the rest of the Democrats just sit there and let him say anything. Where's LeBron James? Where are the rest of the athletes that want to come out on the big issues? Where are all those entertainers?
Right.
Where are the fellow politicians? Where are the people that vote for these politicians that say these things? They just go, they scurry back into the bush, just like the memes that we've seen with Homer Simpson. They disappear into the bush.
They do. Yeah, totally. They go back and it's like they hide.
Who would be Brainy Smurf? All those blue people. Is there a Brainy Smurf? I don't even know. Stephen King is in studio now with Metro Shootings.
RFK.
No. Oh, well, I thought we're being more negative. I'm trying not to be negative to him.
But that's true. That is true.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Grouchy Smurf. That would have to be, but besides Biden, but he kind of applies to a lot of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Grouchy would have to be, who's the New York senator?
Grouchy Smurf.
Yeah. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Nancy Pelosi.
No, her good friend.
Chuck Schumer. Chuck
I
Schumer. He
can't
looks,
think of a better grouchy Smurf.
yeah, he's the
Outside of
grouchiest.
St. Louis's own Cori Bush, but she did something nice recently. She's trying to help people. So, I mean, I know it's all for political gain, but whatever. I didn't even know there was a hefty Smurf. Do you guys remember a hefty Smurf?
Hefty
I
Smurf.
don't think that's not true. I've
I was
never
like,
Not
what?
true.
Was there a greedy Smurf?
There's a lot of
greedy.
greedy.
Yes. Yes,
Yes.
there was a
That's all the blue, those in the blue. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Smurf is a good name for that, for sure.
Okay. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Vanity Smurf would have to be California's own Gavin Newsom, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Unfortunately, if there was a hefty Smurf, I think that would go to Illinois' own, and I'll just leave that right there.
There you go. You're right on it.
And I'm all over that dude for bringing in and making cops, or at least he's given the opportunity for illegals to become cops. Okay.
That is insane.
This is, we've gone way off. There's a lot of scaredy Smurf. Was there a sloppy Smurf? I don't even know what list I'm looking at right now.
Sloppy Smurf. Yeah, there's a lot of sloppy Smurfs.
All right, there we go. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks, Pro Joe in the house, taking care of all the engineering sides of things. How do we have Steve? Does Steve look all right there? Does he need to be sitting up higher? That's why I was pointing at you, Joe, to make sure.
Well, yeah, I was in the process of doing that, and then you introduced him.
No, can we? Well, that's all right. We go on. Let's make sure he looks good for the rest of the segment when we cut those reels for him and make sure that he's doing all right. Once again, this is cancelthishow.com. Your guys' interaction with the show is great. Greg says just the stock market is a Trump marker. In March of 2020, just remember, it tanked low 20,000 due to the cupcake. We agree with that. By the time he left office, it was almost back before cupcakes, but has already moved since Biden, as he is referred to so eloquently by Lizzie. Yes. Since he left and came back. So anyway, we appreciate you guys and jumping in from that standpoint. I just want to make sure we get some of those comments out there. Okay. Steve King, welcome to the studio, my friend. Welcome back. We love it when you come in. Are you guys still the largest gun store in the state of Missouri?
Well, I think we're pretty up. We're up there. If we're not the largest, we're up there pretty high.
No, I love having you on. Your knowledge is very, very deep. You did radio shows for a long time too. Where did you do radio?
I was on KTRS, Big 550 for 8 years, every Sunday night.
Did you like it?
I loved it. It was very fun.
Just once a week?
Yeah, it was once a week. It was from, we had 2 different time slots, but we were going right before Dan, Outdoors Dan, and it was a big 4-hour block of hunting and Second Amendment and shooting sports, and it was really fun.
Talking with Steve King, the owner of Metro Shooting Supply. We want to talk about, we're going to get into some of these gun issues. There's, obviously in St. Louis City, politicians want to take away open carry. Now there's a question, do St. Louis County officials want to follow suit? I'm convinced Tashara Jones wants to be the next. She wants, and I talked with our friend Cedric, and we've talked about this several times. She wants to be the head of any co-op that happens, any merger. And that's anything that St. Louis, so like St. Louis City is telling St. Louis County, you're going to do what we tell you to do. You follow it and say, okay, I'll follow you around. Okay. We're going to get into the gun issues, but you had a massive issue, and it relates you to the every average day person that deals with these things. What happened with MSD that you're dealing with right now? And for people in the St. Louis area, you were able to get Elliot Davis. That's right. Elliot Davis came out and did a story with you.
That's right. Elliot's a great guy.
Was it a you paid for it segment?
It was.
Okay.
And he really socked it to MSD. Unfortunately, MSD lied on air. And there has been nothing resolved. Back on Veterans Day, last November 11th, we had a huge sewer backup into our range area. And
Joe, we can show that picture whenever you want, and we'll pop it in and keep it up.
Yeah, it just we have probably 50 of these pictures, but different types. But it literally destroyed our range area, our counters. We couldn't get customers in. Our entrance right there, as you can see on the left, that's how
the
you
entrance
got
to your store.
That's the entrance to the store.
Bridgeton store, right?
Right. And we had a car drive through. Some burglars drove through the front door on August 20th, and this is November 11th. And this was the only entrance to our store. So it was completely flooded out. That's the beginning of the flood. We had about 9 inches of water total. And it wasn't just water, it was human waste, little pieces of corn,
Oh my God.
all kinds of nice smelly things. Yeah, right.
Ew.
So customers were not able to come in through the store. And we had MSD, their insurance company, sent an adjuster out 2 days later, 3 days later. And they told us, you have to rip up all this carpet. You've got to fix the walls. You've got to take out your display cases. You've got to repair this because it's human waste. We can't have that in your building. So we immediately got a contractor involved. MSD recommended the people that were there cleaning it up. They said they'd worked with them before. So we get the people in there. It took about 6.5, 7 weeks to get this done. In the meantime, we can't have business because there's no rental guns, there's no classroom, there's no concealed carry, there's just very, very skeleton crew there, and people can't get upstairs to shop. So this is Black Friday is affected, Christmas is affected. Everything is messed up with this, and we turned the bills into MSD, and they refused to pay them. And I said, well,
how long has this been going on for?
This has been going on since November.
What were the prices of the bills?
So our construction cost to get all this cleaned up and rebuilt was $77,000 approximately.
Oh, wow.
We lost $70,000 in income, and that was a very conservative number. We told them they wanted us to close down 100%. I told them if we close down for Black Friday through Christmas, you're looking at a couple $100,000. And they said, oh, by all means, heavens no, don't close down. Stay open at all costs. We'll reimburse you. So we stayed open, and we had very little traffic through the store. As you can see, they couldn't get through. And again, that hallway is the only way into the building, and the walls are torn out, the carpet's torn up. There's no rental guns. There's no sales counter. There's nothing downstairs because it's empty, completely empty. And so we go and talk to MSD and submit all the bills. And the construction company had been sending bills every week. And MSD approved them, and they said everything looks good. And then towards the end of the time, they said, we're not paying for it. So for the last 8 months, I've been fighting MSD. I've contacted the Better Business Bureau. They lied to the Better Business Bureau and said that I won't take their money.
They can continue this on and on and on.
They're the biggest people in town. And, the bad part is that when I talked to the insurance adjuster, this is what really got me. I work hard every day, and I pay my bills, and I get everything done. And they said, well, when you signed up to be an MSD customer, you agreed that MSD wouldn't be 100% responsible for any backups. And I said, no, I never signed up to be an MSD customer. By law, I'm mandated to be an MSD customer. So we don't get a choice of whether we use MSD or not. We are mandated by law to be hooked up to MSD sewer system. And they can screw us over anytime they want. And when you look at their history, look at Florissant 2 summers ago, during the big flood up there. There was thousands of people flooded out, and there's still buildings that are empty because of the flood. And MSD skirts around the issue. They're not responsible for above ground water. They're not responsible for this. So their insurance company says, well, look, it's over our claim amount. So we'll give you, they've offered me $72,000 now after 8 months of negotiating, but it's nowhere near paying the construction cost.
No, not even close. We're talking with Steve Kings on Metro Shooting Supply. We've been showing you a picture of flooding that occurred. I know people who've dealt with flooding situations and stories like this. I've also seen other stories when news stories were done that MSD stepped up and got stuff done, but they weren't the price tag that this one is.
Right. And I told them if I had a car insurance and I hit a Lamborghini, and my car insurance says, hey, we're only allowing you to, $100,000 claim, and this Lamborghini's $500,000, I have to pay for that out of pocket. MSD's got the money, and so they said, well, we have to be transparent. If we pay for your claim, then everybody can look at that and see how it goes. And I said, well, I guarantee if this was Ozzie Smith's house, or if this was, the Sam Page's house, or even the director of the MSD, CEO of MSD, Brian's house, if this was his house, they would have fixed it and had it fixed. Who is
the director of MSD?
Absolutely.
His name is Brian Hoschler or something that I can't pronounce his last name, but he announced his retirement this year. So he's retiring at the end of the year.
Oh, somebody else gets to deal with this.
Somebody else will deal with this. And, he's done a fantastic job at MSD. And MSG, they got sued by the EPA, and they're on this 20-some-odd year $4.7 billion mandated infrastructure repair. And they're doing all these things. St. Louis has got a very old infrastructure. And I think that Brian and his crew has done a fantastic job. But I've been in this location for 10 years. I've never had an issue. I've had 2 floods now within 7 weeks of each other.
Wow.
That's their issue. That has nothing to do with you. And by the way, for our listeners and viewers all across the country, MSD in the state of Missouri, it's basically 2 utilities in one. They provide collection and treatment of wastewater. We were kind of talking about that. And that comes from residential. It comes from commercial, industrial as well. But they're also responsible they take care of the operation and maintenance of a separate storm sewer system that serves, like almost all of St. Louis County. I've heard it's like 90%.
Of St. Louis County and St. Louis City, yes.
Okay, so once again, you have no choice.
Nope.
You have to deal with them. And if you don't have these services.
And if you look at the Better Business Bureau complaints on them, most of them are about billing issues because they have no problem billing you and collecting money from you. They have a problem paying out when there's a damage.
Correct.
So I've had several customers and several people contact me in regards as if they saw Elliot's story, which was so eloquently done, as he always does. And they said, they lied about me too. They said they were going to take care of our house, and they never did. There were people.
Did they say that in the story?
Yeah, they said that they were that I wouldn't accept their money. That they've tried to give me money, and I won't take it.
Has State Senator Brian Williams been able to help you at all?
He hasn't yet. I've contacted him. It is working. I have been in contact with his people. And I'm going to take it all the way to the governor's office. And when I told the insurance adjuster, they said, well, do they have jurisdiction? That's the freaking governor. I think they've got all kinds of jurisdiction. When you look at these people, my story's bad enough. Mm-hmm. But there's people that got put out at Christmas time that had to move out of their house and lose their Christmas presents and lose all their stuff. And kids didn't have Christmas that year because MSD wouldn't pay for their house to be redone. And they were in a hotel and they were in various places. And these are the Better Business Bureau reports that I was reading on. But I've got customers now that are contacting me, and I'm going to try to get enough people together to get a class action lawsuit against MSD.
That's because you're retired and you have lots of time to do this.
That's all I do. Yeah, I just live for MSD now. and I told them this isn't going away. I'm not going to sleep, and I'm going to fight for this. So I have a little defund the MSD campaign. I figure if we can defund police departments, why can't we defund MSD?
Yeah.
Good point.
Well, I hate to hear that. Please keep us updated on that.
Yeah, I will. Thank you very much.
I'm glad that Elliot did something on that, and hopefully there's something that Brian Williams can do. Or, that's your guy, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be anybody else that could help you from a political standpoint.
I'm looking for anybody. If there's any of your listeners know anyone, or if they've had experiences with this, have them contact me at buylearnshoot.com. Look at our webpage. I'd like to have I'd love to have as many people get on this as possible because I know that I'm not the only victim of
Guarantee
MSD.
it. No,
I know
it
I'm
didn't
not.
just hit there.
Right. But this is a lot of money, and I'm going to fight it.
We're talking with Steve King. He's the owner of Metro Shooting Supply. He wanted to talk about this MSD situation he's been dealing with for quite some time. It's sad to hear that. We also have other issues that are going on. These are situations that can happen anywhere in the country. It happens to be going on here. What are your thoughts with this whole open carry in the city of St. Louis? And now I'm starting to hear rumblings of St. Louis County officials wanting the same thing.
It's a double-edged sword, Vic. I think that what the guy in the city is trying to propose is that you cannot open carry unless you have a concealed carry permit. And that's going to stop all these little hoodlums because they don't get concealed carry permits. So what he's doing is he's trying to help the police in a backdoor type of manner, trying to help the police go after these thugs because they're carrying open, and they're making it very clear that they're open carrying. And if they don't have a concealed carry permit, he wants them locked up. So I think it's a good thing in a way because I'm not for open carry in the first place. I think it's a stupid idea.
And that's why I wanted people to get an idea because they may, he sells guns. They may have a distorted image of who you may be and what you are, but you give thought behind where your opinions go.
Right. And I'll tell you, I think open carry is a horrible tactic. Why would you want your enemy? Why would you want your adversary? Why would you want your potential attacker knowing you have a firearm? And if you have that false sense of security that says, I've got a gun on my hip, nobody's going to hurt me, you are mistaking because hardened criminals will shoot you first, take your gun, and then commit more crimes. They're not afraid of your firearm. So if you keep it concealed, you're a lot better off strategically to be able to get the jump on somebody if you have that opportunity.
How are you guys doing right now when it comes to the state, when it comes to sales, the opinions, the popularity of getting out and getting a gun for whatever reason somebody may need it for? Hopefully the first and foremost is protection.
Yeah, right now I think that during the summertime, there's not a lot of hunting going on. So, fall, September 1st starts dove season, and then all the winter sports start flying in. But we sell a lot of guns during deer season and stuff for hunting purposes. But now, with the news that's going on, with the economy tanking, with people breaking into everybody's houses, with these carjackings, the majority of our people, the 99% of our people are coming in for home defense, personal defense guns. And our concealed carry classes are still filling up because people want to get that license. Even though we're a permitless carry state, people want to know the laws because you don't know what you don't know. And until you take the class, you have no clue of what you're doing. You're just putting a gun on and praying for the best.
Can you tell me what is going on right now when it comes to not Joe Biden himself, because he doesn't even know what's going on there.
Poor guy.
But the whole situation, if you've seen this or not from a national standpoint, I don't know. He's attempting to regulate pistol braces in an appeals court. Now, he was shot down, but he's not going to stop it. What is the big deal with pistol braces, in your opinion, that he was trying to get rid of, and why? Why get rid of pistol braces?
Well, there's twofold to that as well. The first is pistol braces were initially developed for veterans who had been disabled during the war, and they couldn't hold an AR-15 or they couldn't hold an AK-47 rifle because of loss of appendage or nerve damage or whatever that may be. So they made these pistol braces to fit the rifle and have it go onto their forearm, and that gave them a stability brace to shoot this AR handgun or AK handgun, and it made it very probable for these guys to come out and shoot again, and that was a good thing. But what happened was, over a course of about 8 years, people were on the internet blatantly putting those pistol braces against their shoulder and essentially making this AR pistol.
Were these to the people you commonly refer to as the thugs and hoodlums?
No, not necessarily.
Anybody and everybody?
Yeah, these were everybody. They were putting this brace against their shoulder and purposefully using them as a short-barreled rifle. As a matter of fact, a lot of people advertised on YouTube, throwing it up to ATF's face, going, ha, 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 I've got a short-barreled rifle. I didn't have to pay the tax stamp. I've got this gun, and there's nothing you can do about it. And they were shouldering this gun. This gun was not designed to be shouldered. So ATF spent 9 years, and they compiled all this data, and they have all these YouTube videos and all these articles and all these magazine articles, and then they went and said, look, this is what's really happening.
So is that, we're showing you a picture of the back. Is that a pistol brace on the back end of that?
Yes.
Okay. So that would be used up against the shoulder? Is that what you're explaining? We have some other pictures as well.
Yeah, that's a blade brace. That is not designed to shoot from the shoulder. So this gun, a rifle's definition is it has to have a barrel length of a minimum of 16 inches and the overall length of 20 some odd inches.
Mm-hmm.
But so when you look at it from this side here, that barrel is probably an 11-inch barrel, and that pistol brace allows you to have a short-barreled gun without getting a federal tax stamp, a $200 tax stamp, to make it legal as a short-barreled rifle. So they're essentially putting that brace against their arm and making it a stock, and that's the illegal part of it. The fact that it's a brace is designed to fit around the forearm to shoot that pistol one-handed.
And as one of our viewers says, Aaron says, the Buffalo shooter used one. So now in typical Democratic fashion, because one guy broke the law, they have to try to make us all outlaws.
Right. And the problem with that is it's not just one guy. There were thousands of people on YouTube, thousands of articles written over the years about how to skirt ATF's short-barreled rifle rule. And they documented every bit of it. And when they brought it to the powers to be, they said, look, this is what is really happening. And it's not for veterans. These aren't veterans that are holding these guns up, shooting them from the shoulder. This is not designed and used as it was intended. I had several of these. I had 11 AR-15s with pistol braces on them. So, I had to take them off January 31st when they became illegal. I don't believe it's going to hold up constitutionally. I think we're going to get it reversed. Are they illegal
right now?
Right now, it's illegal to have that on a rifle. On a pistol, I'm sorry. It's a pistol.
On pistols. So federally, it is right now.
Everywhere in the country.
But not on a rifle. So that's what Biden's trying to do on a rifle.
No. Right? So what happens is you don't put an arm brace on a rifle. You'll have a stock on a rifle. Okay. So what they were doing was essentially making this quote-unquote arm brace a stock and putting it against the shoulder. Instead of holding it on the chin or on your forearm where it was designed for, they're putting it against the shoulder. And it's kind of complicated, and it's a definition of words on what makes a pistol and a rifle. A pistol is a firearm fired using one hand. Mm-hmm. A rifle is an instrument shot from the shoulder. And they were using these short-barreled rifles, these pistols, as short-barreled rifles, putting them against the shoulder, making them illegal.
Man, okay. Well, we got an update on that. We'll continue to follow that story on Big Fast with Lizzie Spark. She's in Gulf Shores, Alabama this morning with her beautiful flag behind her. Pro Joe running the board. And, of course, we've got Steve King with Metro Shooting Supply. Shootings and murders have not stopped in the city of St. Louis. They've not stopped in Chicago. They've not stopped in other cities around America. You read it. You see it. What do you...
We need more gun laws, of course.
And you sell guns. I mean, what do you make of this these days when you see all these reports right now?
It breaks my heart because, we're selling to legitimate, honest people. People can't come into my gun shop and just buy a gun and go out and start killing people. They could, I guess, but they're not the people I'm selling to. I'm selling to people who are scared to death because they've listened to the news. They've watched the news. They see the crime. They see these little thugs on the internet. They listen to these rap videos. They watch how these people are acting. They watch the carjackings at Quick Trip. These are my customers. They come in and they say, look, I'm scared to death. I have 80-year-old people coming in who said, I've never had a gun in my life before.
Did you see the story a few days ago? A woman who was in her 80s woke up to a guy holding a gun and she blew him back away, I think, with a Magnum.
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing that every day. We're seeing people defending their homes and being victorious over bad guys. And that's the thing about concealed carry and open carry. When you have it concealed, when the bad guy doesn't know that you're armed, you have a better advantage of success.
Which is why you're against open carry.
Exactly, because I don't want the bad guy knowing I have a gun. I mean, trust me, I carry a gun everywhere I go that's legal to do so, but they don't know I have it.
So where do you see this all going? Nothing's going to change unless leadership I'm assuming you're a deterrent guy when it comes to policing.
Right. I think that we need to give more power to the police. I don't believe that there's a wide, rampant indoctrination of bad policemen going around abusing people.
Of course not.
It just isn't there. It never has been there. And even in society, you watch that old Clint Eastwood movie, where they had the motorcycle cops that were vigilantes. Sudden Impact, I believe it was.
That's a good movie.
Even he took care of the issue within the issue. Police take care of themselves. Now, are there bad policemen? Of course. Are there bad doctors? Of course. Are there bad anything? Of course. But in general, we trust those people, and they put their lives on the line every day to protect us and to fight crime and or evil. And I say that if they make a mistake, we need to look at that mistake from their point of view because they only have a split second to make that decision. And as a former policeman,
thank you for saying that.
I have to say that I want to go home at night. And there are many times when you have a very quick split second chance to make a decision and you have to live by that decision, right or wrong, the rest of your life. These guys aren't going out purposefully making wrong decisions to live with that guilt the rest of their life. They're human beings. They're just like us. And the majority of them, the most of them that I know anyway, are very good, honorable people. And they are frustrated. They come into my store and they buy firearms and they buy ammunition, they shoot, and they do all the things in my store. And they're friends of mine. And they tell me how their hands are tied. They can't arrest people that they need to have arrested. They can't charge people that need to be charged because prosecuting attorneys' offices won't issue the warrants or won't issue the charges against them or won't prosecute them. This is where their hands are tied. They feel like they're going out for 8 to 10 hours a day, patrolling the streets, getting shot at, getting into fights, having to put their life on the line for absolutely nothing. And what's going to happen is they're going to walk away. And when the guard dog walks away from the sheep, the wolves take over.
And the wolves know, don't they?
That's absolutely right. And the wolves are knowing that right now. And that's why they're doing whatever they want to do. But what happens is once the sheeple understand that the guard dogs can't be there anymore because the guard dogs have been neutered or defanged, now it's up to the sheeple to step up and fight for themselves. And you're going to see a lot more of these home defense
You think that's going to happen,
situations.
don't you?
Absolutely. The police cannot be in everybody's house 24 hours
What
a
about
day.
county areas where it may be nicer, where we're not used to seeing a lot of crime happen?
We don't see it there because they don't report it. It happens.
Right.
It happens everywhere.
What do you mean they don't report it?
They're not letting the news media know that there's home invasions in very nice neighborhoods. But I have customers that come in and say, I live in a gated community and these people broke into my home.
Steve is exactly right about that. Years ago, we lived in a gated community and we had a home invasion and all of our neighbors did. And no one reported that. No one knew because they didn't want the town of Weldon Spring to know there was any crime. And there was. And it was people coming over from the city or somewhere else, not just the city, but they were coming in, posing as cleaning people, knocking at the door. And when you didn't give them what they wanted, they pushed their way in, started stealing stuff. And by the time the police came there, the damage was done and it was never reported.
It frustrates the hell out of me. Aaron Bland with the quote of the day, quote, try that in a small town.
Exactly. Good job, Aaron. You have to protect yourself
today, but yeah.
That song is an amazing song. I listened to it the other day.
It's number one on the Billboard completely.
Right. And, when they said that was a racist
Taylor
song,
Swift is like fifth. And Jason Aldean is number one. You are in the silent majority that needs to wake up. People.
Absolutely. When they talk about this being racist and what have you, they're crazy. And the fact of the matter is that, when people come into my store and they smell like weed, I have to kick them out. It's a federal law. You can't smell like weed or be under the influence.
Weed smells like?
Yeah.
I guess you smell that as soon as they walk in the door.
Oh my God. And it's nauseating. And so we have to kick them out. The first thing that comes out of their mouth is that we're racist. And I'm like, what, do you think that black people are the only people that smoke weed? Weed's been around forever, ever. And it hasn't been an issue. But now everything's racist. And it's so frustrating to see this. And I'm from a small town. I'm from Rolla, Missouri. And, down there, you couldn't do anything without somebody knowing who you were. I had a car accident when I was 16 years old. I called my insurance agent. He said, I already know.
Oh, that's funny.
I was like, how do you know?
Oh. Well, and Steve, do people come in there smelling like weed? And also, besides saying that you're racist, do they say, well, it's legal now here in Missouri?
Yeah, that's a big misconception. They come in and say, well, what's the big deal? It's legal. It's legal on the state level, but it is not legal federally. And we're regulated by federal law. So when they walk in the door, and there's signs on our doors, there's everywhere. But, we have people come in and go, man, your vestibule out there, it reeks because there's no airflow until the doors open. And they'll sit out there in the vestibule reading that sign for 5 minutes going, what does that mean? I can't come in here if I smell like weed. And they're sniffing themselves to see if they smell like weed. And it's not just black people. I'm not trying to say it's only black people, but it's every person that walks in the door who thinks that, hey, it's okay now. Missouri's legal.
Are you still having to turn down several people for gun purchases?
Oh, absolutely. Because of that?
But what do you get? Like, what would you say turnaways on a weekly basis? Do you have an average? Because you've shown me your stack that you sit and wait for the FBI to come investigate that they haven't. I've seen the stack.
Right. Those are the denials. Those are the people who we have caught that cannot purchase firearms. And the FBI doesn't, or nobody does anything about it. So that's the other frustration that I have in this business is that it's our job, and we're regulated very heavily. It's our job to do a background check on every single person we sell a firearm to. And what's the reason for the background check? Ask Joe Biden. What's the reason for that? Chuck Schumer, what's the reason for it? To get bad guys not to be able to buy guns, right? Makes sense, right? We have a job. It's like a big net. We go fishing and we have this net and all of a sudden we catch a fish. There's a guy here that can't buy a gun. Well, what do we do with him? Absolutely nothing. We put that paperwork in a file. He can't buy it. He leaves. the government never comes in and says, oh, man, thanks, Steve, for catching these 500 people this year for not being able to buy guns.
That sucks.
It does. And so I've got a stack of denials that are probably 3 or 4 feet tall that they have never done anything with. And
how
we
many
have
on a weekly basis do you think how many denials are you having to turn people away on a weekly basis?
I would say we get probably 6 or 7 denials a week.
And to give perspective, you are one of the largest gun stores in the state of Missouri.
We sell 100 guns in 10 days. We're telling a lot of folks they can't have them because they're denied. And it's for various reasons. You can get denied for whatever it is, whether you don't pay child support, you get a court order, you get a restraining order, you had done a felony, you've done whatever. And some of these people are so ignorant about the laws, they say, well, that felony happened when I was 16 or 18 years old, 19 years old back in 1975. It doesn't go away. It's like herpes. It stays there forever.
Like herpes, it never goes away.
Bad luggage and herpes, I think Eddie Murphy said, sticks with you forever.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I'm talking with Steve Keegan, Metro Shooting Supply. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks, Pro Joe from cancelthisshow.com. You can catch out all of our original content on our sites. I wanted to let people know about this too. Pro Joe, if you have those, can you pop those up? You may have to go back in our file, and I didn't tell you about it before. But if you go to our website, cancelthisshow.com, we have coupons because we continue to run specials with Metro Shooting Supply when it comes to the classes, because you want to get people trained, and also a special for people when it comes to holsters. So if you could break down those two topics, and then, of course, we'll pop up and let people know they can go to cancelthisshow.com. And what works for people. Sure.
We have our next concealed carry class is September 22nd or 23rd. I think it's 23rd. I apologize. The Saturday in September. So that's there. And anybody who listens to the show, if they go on here and get this coupon, they get 10% off that class. I know it's not regulated by law or mandated by law anymore in the state of Missouri to get this class, but I promise you, when you leave that 8-hour class, you will know a lot more than when you started. And you'll be thankful that you did it. You know, we just had a class on August 22nd, and the people said, we didn't even realize there was so much responsibility with this. And not only that, but there's a shooting test. There's a shooting portion, which I feel is so important to prove that you can handle this gun. Not that it's your constitutional right. You don't have to prove anything. But when you're carrying this firearm, you're responsible for every single one of those bullets. And whenever a bullet leaves that gun, there's a lawyer attached to it. And if that hits the wrong thing or the wrong person, you could be held responsible for it.
Did you sue anybody for shooting into your ceiling in the gun range?
No, we can't do that, unfortunately.
Pro Joe, Lizzie, I'm not kidding you. I was in his gun range. There are, hundreds?
Thousands of holes.
Thousands of holes.
Wow.
In the ceiling.
Right.
I'm like, what the hell? And he's like, and then people think they can just go get a gun and go protect themselves if given a horrible situation, and they're having to think fast, and their adrenaline's rushing, and they have no training.
Absolutely.
Correct.
You know, I had my very first day that we rebuilt the range and fixed all
there's literally 1,000 holes.
Thousands
in the ceiling.
Yeah, thousands. The first day we fixed all that wood. We made, it's wood covering steel plates. And we fixed all that. We made it beautiful. And the first day, a guy shot it with a shotgun. And I said, why did you shoot that? And he goes, somebody had to.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
I was like, no, nobody had to shoot that ceiling. And so he was banned from the range. But
I bet he was banned. I bet he was.
But the thing is that people don't realize muzzle discipline and trigger control. And, this is the first safety. Your finger is your first safety on a gun. So whenever someone says, well, this gun doesn't have a safety on it. Yes, it does. It's connected from your finger to your brain. And as long as that's working, you're going to be fine.
The other thing that you're offering people is a discount, a coupon, another discount on our website when it comes to holsters.
Yeah. So what we found in the last 5 to 6 years is a majority of the people are putting lights and lasers on their firearms. And the industry hasn't caught up to that yet. So no one is mass producing holsters, custom holsters for these people that have lights and lasers on their firearms. So we have taken it upon ourselves to start that and make custom holsters for people who come in and they have a Glock 19 with a Streamlight, light on it, and they want to carry it inside the waist. So we will make them a holster for them to do that. There's not a lot of commercial holsters out there designed to put lights and lasers on firearms and then carry them concealed.
Are those starting to sell more? Are people starting to understand that?
They're expensive, compared to a $25 shelf holster. They're made out of Kydex and leather. They're very good, high quality holsters. So people are coming in and seeing the value of it. I'm not going to say it's gangbusters, but a lot of people mistakenly just put this gun without a holster inside their pants and carry it that way. And that's going to be a bad problem someday. And, we want to tell people, we stress that a holster does two things. A holster orientates the gun in the proper direction, in a safe direction. And it also covers the trigger guard so you can't have an accidental discharge. And some of these guys sticking these guns down the front of their pants are going to understand someday that wasn't a good idea.
Please tell me, you've heard stories of this happening?
Yeah. And, when a particular firearm, I don't want to bad rep anybody, but Glock came out in 1980s. And Glock was the first gun company to be widely mass produced that had a safety on the trigger. You had to depress the trigger to make the gun go off.
Yeah.
It was called safe action firing. So a lot of policemen carried the Glock 17 when it first came out. And since it was a brand new concept of how it worked, a lot of guys stuck that gun right down the front of their pants. And there were I think the first year alone, there was 17 to 30, something like that. I can't remember the exact number, 17 or 35 shootings from policemen putting a gun down the front of their pants, whether they took it off the street and was sticking it in there for safekeeping, or it was their gun and they stuck it in there and they had an accidental discharge. A lot of times they shot that gun accidentally, putting it back in the box because the trigger had to be depressed to put it in the Tupperware box it came in. So things have changed now over the last 25, 35 years. But people still shoot themselves. It's just not we just don't hear it as much.
Hey, before Lizzie and I let you go today, can you remind everybody, I'm sure people in the policing community, at least in the state of Missouri, understand, maybe military, but you do some very special things for police, men and women, first responders, and also the military. Can you talk about the sections that you have and how you can help? Because if there's somebody that doesn't know what you do, there may be a family member, a friend, say, hey, you need to go check out Metro Shooting Supply because of what Steve King's doing for these people.
Yeah, as a former policeman, I have a special place for these guys in my heart. Nurses, doctors, judges, these guys, I've worked with them for many, many years. And so law enforcement, firemen, paramedics, prison guards, security officers, we have a section in our store, a whole section dedicated with law enforcement. I call them law enforcement guns because at the time, law enforcement was the only people who could have them. But these are first responder firearms, and there's nothing special about them. They don't have better sights or trick triggers or laser guided bullets or anything like that. They're standard firearms that any person could buy, but they're at a discount. They don't have a federal excise tax put on it. So people don't realize when they talk about banning guns and ammunition that our industry has a lot of money that we put in taxes. And unfortunately, the government can't take that money. So it's earmarked for the conservation department. But we pay 11% of everything that's manufactured, firearms and ammunition. We pay 11% to the conservation department. And the Democrats can't get that and spend it on their pork belly stuff. So they want to ban guns. But the federal excise tax is taken away for the LE people and the first responders. So we have an entire section with all the name brands, and they can come in and get a firearm. All they have to have is credentials showing they're a nurse or a judge or security guard, fireman, military, retired military, and they can come in and buy these firearms at a discount, and we offer them to them every day.
That is amazing. I'm glad that you do it. Steve King, we'll be catching up with you, my friend. We appreciate you joining us. Anything else you want to talk about before we go? I mean, I know you lambasted MSD and showed us the proof of it, so we got that taken care of.
I hope they come to their senses because as I wrote in the letter to them, if they just satisfied one upset customer, it's going to be better than having to satisfy thousands of pissed off people that are going to come after them and probably make them pay in the millions. This is a lot easier ticket to pay.
And it is one of those things, but they can say whatever they want to. And local news has to get both sides of the story.
Absolutely.
I mean, they should, and if somebody lies, you just have to be able to prove it. That's kind of
absolutely
how it's always been, unfortunately. Steve King with Metro Shooting Supply. We'll be in touch, my
Thanks,
friend.
Vic. Have a good day.
Yeah, you can get up, you can walk out if you want to. We'll just continue on. Steve King, one of the best gun shop owners, one of the best advocates for gun safety, and of course, one of the best people when it comes to gun knowledge, and that's why we bring him on the show when we can. Metro Shooting Supply. You're not going to find anything better than that. Lizzie, it is, I may have talked to you about this before, but literally I saw his stack of denials that officials have not come to check out yet. Denials.
And why are they not checking them out? Because they just
He
don't
doesn't
want
know.
to?
I don't know. Nobody knows. We can speculate, oh, well, we're really not going to worry about that right now. Or it comes from something that starts at the top and trickles down. Well, we don't want to get into all of that. That's all I can think.
That seems bizarre.
That's for sure.
Yes. You would think with all the crime that's going on that's involving gun shootings, they would be right there checking on it.
You would hope so, but they're not right now. By the way, this is cancelthisshow.com. We appreciate everybody jumping in and joining us today. We were talking, I want to get some headlines in today. It is interesting. The Florida Tourism Board, that's a board that Ron DeSantis put together. They've eliminated any diversity, equity, and inclusion training at Disney World. That's been taken out of the mix. So people are excited about that.
Yeah.
And one other Trump bit, because we started the show talking about just a bunch of stuff going on with him and people get tired of it. But there's another factor to this, the Obama effect.
Yes.
And now word has been leaked out. And of course, when word leaks out, that's done on purpose. People have to realize it's not just because the Democrats got caught, but now officials are saying that Obama, in a recent meeting in June, at the end of June with Biden, told him and warned Biden that Trump is a, quote, more formidable candidate than they could have ever realized. You think? And then you start to see the situations now with more indictments coming their way. During the meeting, he also pledged that he is going to come out and campaign for Biden for the 2024 reelection. Now, if you remember, at one point he said he wasn't, he was just kind of waiting. He was going to wait to see. But now, what is he doing? He knows what's happening. And why does a former president care so much? Why do we care what the former president is doing? When has any other former president tried to meddle or do as much as this man has?
Correct, because he's afraid.
This is the limelight, who we know is a very arrogant person, or at least comes across that way. Why? Why is he meddling?
Well, because he wants his term to continue, because he's running the country. And so if Trump gets reelected, he can't boss Trump around, but he can boss Obama and himself around.
His quotes from the sources from the meeting said that he, quote, voiced concern about Donald Trump's political strengths, including an intensely loyal following, a Trump-friendly conservative media ecosystem, and a polarized country. Underline his worry, that being Obama's, that Trump could be a more formidable candidate than many Democrats realize.
Yes, absolutely. He's scared. He's scared to death of Trump, too, because he can't speak in an earpiece to Trump, but he can speak in an earpiece to Joe.
I'm just like, my God, it doesn't stop. When does this stuff stop? Why is Obama now coming into play again? As we've talked about so many times, and of course, as we were telling you earlier, it is interesting what's happening. Why is he getting involved? This is all a bunch of BS. This shouldn't be happening. Go mind your business. Go do something. Go take care of Michelle, and let the rest of the world move on. You're not involved anymore. You got your 2 terms. Get out.
Right.
Get out.
Get out. Get out. But he doesn't want to get out. He's either setting up Michael to run for office, or he's waiting for his next term again with Joe. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's obnoxious. It is obnoxious.
For people who want to get into it today, too, by the way, a transcript of Devin Archer's testimony before the House Oversight Committee has been released. You can see that. You can jump in and do whatever you want. You can read it, see if you like that, see what you think about that. Whatever. I'm not going to get into all of that. The judge did allow that to happen. So we got that going on. Also, you've got some other, by the way, I know she makes millions and millions and millions of dollars, but she still gave it. Taylor Swift giving $100,000 bonuses to all of her truck drivers. That was a cool story. Glad to see that as well. And Fox Nation is going to send sweepstake winners to the first GOP primary debate. Lucky you if you want to go, because I don't even know if many people are going to be there from the start of it. So anyway, this is cancelthisshow.com. Lizzie Sparks is here. I'm Vic Faust. Hope everybody's doing well. Remember to like, subscribe, share the show, send information to us if you have those stories. We also need to promote tomorrow. Do not miss tomorrow. We've been promoting and talking about it and things that are going on. So we have got John Moore tomorrow, J.R. Moore, who is going to break down Antarctica. Former Green Beret, studies this stuff on a daily basis, does his own podcasting on a daily basis. We'll break down that, how there are and why there are, and how you can notice two different Joe Bidens who are running around right now, allegedly, and why the end of World War II kickstarted a bunch of information that goes into Antarctica with what we have and why it started, why there are 30,000 troops, American troops there. Why did the Pope, why did Putin, why did the U.S. Secretary all go there within like a 60-day time period? Mm-hmm. We're going to break it down. Can't wait for that. And then, of course, that's from 8 to 9 o'clock Central Time. And then tomorrow from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, we've got our good friend Kelly Mano, or Mono, as I say. Mono is how she said it should be. Kelly Mono in studio, the social media superstar. She's joining us now every other Friday to have some fun. And for whatever reason, I said, Kelly, what do you want to talk about? And these have been very popular videos. You know, she has about 3.5 million followers. She said, I have gotten a lot of traction with the Mandela effect.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, so she'll be jumping in with kind of comments that she's seen, talking about breaking down the Mandela effect. That'll be between our 9 and 10 o'clock hour tomorrow. Looking forward to have Kelly, and you will not want to miss tomorrow. It will be a damn good conspiracy theory, free for all, paranormal Friday. Yes. And yes, there is even the paranormal aspect mixed in with this whole Antarctica deal, at least according to John J.R. Moore. Which makes me go, And yes, I agree with you, Cindy. Kelly was great last week. And maybe, Cindy, one of these days, I will remember to bring my special 420 mug cup. I've got one of those, Nicole, but I also have the Cancel This mug cup as well, which we will be selling all the merchandise coming up very, very soon. We've got, it's going to be the power hour for females. Nicole Jenkins in studio. How are you doing, my friend?
Yes. This is Women's Thursday.
Women's Thursday.
I've got to race out here. I got to go take care of some business.
I got some juicy stuff to talk about.
I can't wait, Nicole. Yay.
Lizzie and Nicole, I leave it to, and I can't wait to see everybody for tomorrow's show, okay?
Let's have fun.
Hey,
we're going to have fun.
Nicole, as we start with you and Liz, Lizzie takes it over with you. Can you remind everybody what you do and then get into your juicy with Lizzie?
Oh, I see you talking about the military. So I'm kind of a mess right now.
Oh, you get set. I thought you were ready to go. That's my fault.
I am ready to go. I'm ready to go. So, Lizzie, we're going to talk about
You will need to put your headphones on to hear her, though.
I will. And guess what? I need to turn them.
Well, we'll get those.
I'm going to hear her around.
Joe's going to take care of that.
And I can read her lips because I'm used to doing that.
Oh, no. We're going to make sure. No, it was.
But I am ready to go. Lizzie, we're going to talk about menopause, number one, because a lot of women are going through it.
You betcha.
And New Age has been helping with this semaglutide, and we're losing our big fat stomachs.
Yes, I need to lose mine, and so I'm going when I get back from the trip. Okay,
so I'm losing my big fat stomach.
Good.
Menopause is a nightmare. You wake up and it's still there.
Yes, it is still there. It doesn't go away.
A lot of women want to talk about that. Yes, this is something from being in the medical field that they want to talk about. I also want to talk about the future of St. Louis City. Are we going to recoup from what's going on? It looks like a lot of business owners are leaving. I'm talking to more and more business owners. I've been out of town and they are leaving St. Louis City. And how can we keep these business owners there? Because St. Louis is really beautiful.
It is. I love St. Louis City. I do. It's great.
I know. And I also want to talk about, like, I don't know what's going on. It's really weird.
Yeah.
People have no morals anymore. Like, they will go
They
with,
don't.
if I consider you my friend versus the right thing to do.
Correct.
What's going on
Women
in
are
America?
mean to other women. It's sad.
Mean girl stuff.
Mean girls. And you and I have talked about that before, that women do not celebrate other women. If they feel threatened in any way by another woman, they
No.
will start shit, and they don't win in the end. It's like,
No,
be nice to women.
it's the movement, the mean girl era. What's going
Yes,
on?
it is. It is the mean girl. And if you are not mean back, you look weak at first. But
Yeah.
if you look weak and you look like you're just mamby-pamby. But if you just be nice back, they
Yeah.
will self-construct on their own.
Oh,
They will.
absolutely. So yeah, so this mean girl movement, I don't like, and I'm seeing it a lot. And I'm like,
know.
we're grown women. I did this like in middle school or high school.
Yes.
And you're right. If you don't fight back, the mean girl movement, they're like on you. Like they come for you like hawks.
They do.
And as women, I think that this is a very good topic. Because I'm hearing more and more women say, you know, I'm going through this. I have this problem at work. I have this problem, you know, with other women. And as women, while we are like making our way into history and putting our pavement on the ground, we have to understand that it's very hard to do that when we have to fight women, and we also have to fight, you know, males in the business world. And how do we kind of differentiate from that? Because it's like we're fighting, you know, a two-head elephant. How do we stop the mean girl movement? We should get shirts to say stop the mean girl
movement. I love that. And I am so excited that you're talking about that. And people are excited that you're on. Like Derek is even saying he enjoyed you so much. And I know that, you know, Derek is not a mean girl, but you know, people who have daughters need to, even if you're men, you need to lead. You need to listen, because women have it hard. And I'm not trying to be a feminist. Nicole and I are not feminists. We're not saying that.
No.
But women have to struggle on so many levels. And the biggest enemy, so to speak, of us is other women.
We got to struggle. We got to struggle with the devil itself, the menopause. We got to struggle along as women. We got this nightmare that we wake up from, and as Dr. Walker says, it's a nightmare. You wake up and it's still there. Where's the stomach gonna go? We gotta go. We gotta go try to find some medication to get rid of it.
Yes, and I'm so glad we're already working on it.
We're having hot flashes. Aaron said, teach your daughters MMA.
Right. Well, and Donna's saying stupid female impersonators. It's, you know, like men now are becoming women. So we have to fight our own menopause. We have to fight men now that are acting like women. So we have so
I just say, girl, I got a bunch of skirts in my closet and dresses that I can't fit because of this menopause. So if you want to act like a woman, you can.
They can have my dresses too.
Come to my closet. I got something for you.
Yeah, very good.
You want to be me,
right? Everybody wants to be you, Nicole. I want to be you.
I want to be you too.
I love it.
No, but really, what are some of the topics that everybody's talking about right now? Right now, they're talking about not so much unemployment. They're talking about a lot of people can't make it in life. What's going on with that? You know, I remember at some point, like even people that were beneath that, you know, poverty line, they were able to make it in life. What is going on in America?
Correct. It's so hard to just get up in the morning, even go to the grocery store. Everything's so expensive. It's very difficult for men and women to just live their life. And a lot of people were never given coping skills. So just this meanness comes out in people because they don't understand coping mechanisms. Because life is shitty right now for so many, but you can still be nice. You can still be nice.
You can still be nice to people. And Peggy said, I treat women the way they treat me. You know, I am too old for mean girls. I talk back and put the mean girls in her place. And that is absolutely correct. But you know what? When you talk back and you put them in their place, you are considered the mean girl and they're the victim.
Correct. That's exactly right. I want to do what Peggy's doing so much, but if I've ever acted mean back to anyone in my life, I end up the bad person. And so I just choose to let them be mean and let it play it out.
So Jenny said, does men have menopause? Do men do have menopause? So no kidding. I talked to Dr. Walker. Dr. Walker said men, she actually wrote a book, and I'm going to bring that book in next time I'm on. She said men either go get a younger woman or a brand new Corvette, a sports car.
So now is Dr. Walker with New Age?
Dr. Walker is with me. She's my collaborating physician.
Love
and she
it.
said, men, when they go through that menopause, when they're going through that male pause,
Yes.
they got to go get their hot new car.
We actually prefer it to be called midlife crisis.
Oh, now we know. So men have a midlife crisis and we go through menopause. Okay.
Yeah. So men, when they go through the midlife crisis, they want to change careers. They go get the young girl and they go get their hot new sports car.
Right. They're driving around in a Ferrari with their dad bod. They might have their dad bod, but they got a Ferrari.
They go to New Age too.
Yes.
And they go get the dad bod.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Men and women should go to New Age. I can't wait to go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So right now, I see so many people, instead of doing the right thing, they will side with people who are doing the wrong thing just because they use that friend word. And honestly, some of these people don't even know each other. They don't even know the true definition of a friend. But I always let it sit back and play out, and then guess what? I say nothing. I keep my mouth shut. Mm-hmm. I see how people look at me because of what they thought somebody said, or and the people that know me, they know me. And that whole group, they all fall out with each other. I'm like, how old are you?
They do. That's right. If you be nice and just let it play out, then the mean girl group who's been going after you, stop going after you and go after the people in their own group that are fighting back and forth.
Correct.
And like Paula's saying on here that she kills them with kindness. And even if they know how they talk about her character in the end shows up. And that's what you got to do, is have good character. And when you have good character, the mean girls just look ridiculous. They look ridiculous.
And I want to say sometimes, honey, I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about not becoming bald. I'm worried about losing the stomach.
Yes.
I'm worried about not having hot flashes. I want to sleep at night.
Right.
Exactly.
Good point.
I am worried about not having an outbreak. I don't know why I'm crying, but I'm just crying.
Right. We just want to get up and be nice, and we do. In mid-age, you would think we would stop playing junior high. Because at our age, we've got children, our grandchildren, and we want to do right by them. And you're right. And then we want to lose our gut. We want to lose our stomach and our sagging necks and all of that.
Lose this chin.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get rid of this. Time for you. And how many men that are really watching us I can honestly say that maybe their spouse went through the same thing. Because I think sometimes men can be insensitive to it. I think sometimes they think we're faking. And
I do think they think we're faking it.
It is a feeling that I would not put on my worst enemy.
Correct. I know my husband thought when I was younger, any of these little emotional things that I would have during my, I'm just going to say it, my menstrual cycle, he's now understand I was not faking it because we have 5 children and he was blessed with 4 of them being girls.
Okay.
So he sees how they act when there's something hormonal. It's hormonal. And we have to keep in check all these feelings that we have going on. And it doesn't leave when you turn 50 years old. It, in some ways, intensifies because now we're not the cute, young, thin thing that we used to be. So now we're dealing with that.
Yeah. And it's an emotional distress. And we really should get those shirts to say, stop the mean girl madness, because we are women. And that mean girl madness, it's just not adding up with the depression and the anxiety that women are going through, you
That's
know?
exactly right.
And we as women, we have to stick together.
We do.
Instead of stabbing each other in the backs, we have to be on a movement. Shout out to my friend Denise Nolan. She is the co-founder of Ladies Turn, and it's global.
Oh,
And
okay.
this is in Dallas, Texas, and you can look it up online. And Ladies Turn, I just joined the group, and this is really bringing women together that may be in business, women that are housewives, you know, women that saying, you know, it's our turn to really start supporting each other on whatever endeavor we do and however we do it. And they're really drawing a really big crowd for Ladies Turn.
I am glad. I will look that up right after the show as well, because we do need to support each other. And
Yeah.
I know when we were younger, I was a working mom, always have been a working mom. And there was a battle between stay-at-home moms and working moms.
Mhm.
And each group thought they were better than the other one. Or
Yes.
sometimes the working mom thought that they were jilted and didn't get, to be able to stay home. But you know what? All throughout life,
Mhm.
things will come and go. There might be times you can stay home. There might be times that you could go to work, but either case, we need to back young moms. Us now
Yes.
at our age, instead
Yeah.
of playing the mean girl game, we need to be supportive of young women, whether they want to have kids, they don't want to have kids, whether they want to work, whether they don't want to work. We need to
Absolutely.
just be there for them.
Okay. And Greg, see, I like you.
Oh, he's
Ladies,
great.
always remember us men fell in love with you, not your shape.
Bless you, Greg.
Thank you,
Bless
Greg.
you.
But I
Greg's a
want
good guy.
Greg is a good
I want
guy.
to meet Greg. So I want to talk about something real juicy. So I'm being messy
Oh,
today.
good. Okay, juice.
I
Bring
try
the juice.
not to be messy, but let's talk about these Facebook likes and messengers
Mhm.
and sins and love.
Okay, bring it. Bring it, girl.
I want this is for men and women. When you start stalking somebody's page and
Mhm.
it's all this love and you don't know these people and you don't know, this is for the man. I'm gonna do the female as well. You start loving them and those messages, that is cheating. And I'll tell you why.
Right.
Because the private messages, you don't have to have, an intimate encounter sexually with a person to cheat. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly.
But these intimate encounters, and you, if you are in a relationship and you cannot speak to someone in open, and you have to message them, and you're messaging them, and you want to meet up with them, and you're talking to them, that is cheating.
Right. That is cheating. And people don't realize that, or they think it's not cheating. But if you have a significant other and
Yes.
you are talking to another person of the opposite sex and you're sending little heart emojis or
Yes.
whatever, and it's not just to be nice and platonic,
Yes.
you're causing an online affair is what you're doing.
Now, some of them, like if it's somebody I know, somebody might say, Nicole, I love you. Boom. I love this. I love what you're doing. But when you start doing it's an online affair and it's cheating, and it's a quiet affair that is going to turn into an intimate affair if you continue to do it.
Well,
9 times out of 10, that is the truth.
It is the truth. And I've known people who they're married and they start an online situation. And one of them, my husband, it was his brother. And he says that, out loud. But what'll happen is because women are mean girls, the minute, or sometimes guys can be mean guys, you don't then make it physical. They're going to tell the public what you've been doing. And it's going to be a disaster.
They're going to tell the public, and also men that are business owners, listen to me carefully. There is a such thing as Me Too. There is a such thing as you put me in your car. I am only your employee. You took me to happy hour. You put me in your car, and I felt like you were flirting with me, and you're my boss.
Correct. Correct. And men, you need to watch out for that,
Yes.
because women, you might be raised by your mama to be
Mm-hmm.
this wonderful, polite person, but beware of the women. And we're
Yes.
now trashing women, but it's true. You show them any little extra attention, the next thing you know, they think you like them
Uh-huh.
when you don't. So you
Yeah.
got to be really careful with that.
Yes. And some men are just flirtatious men.
Right.
Some men are men that like to flirt, and they flirt on the side, but you cannot do that.
Correct.
You cannot do that because A, it opens up a lawsuit.
It does.
B, if you have a significant other and you're dating are you just dating someone?
Correct.
Trust me. She
Yes.
sees it, she feels it. And as a woman, women don't say anything.
They don't.
They're
Nope.
quiet and they're silent about it.
Correct. And then they go on their merry way and
Yes.
can ruin you. They
Yes.
can literally ruin you.
They can
And
ruin you, or you're going to leave. You're going to, is it really worth losing the love of your life for a Facebook like or post?
correct. You got to be
Someone
really
you don't
careful.
even know.
Mhm. Yeah, you don't even know them, or even if you do, if you're hiding something from your spouse
Yes.
and they don't know about it and you don't want them to know about it, like you're hiding your phone
Oh,
or
you put your,
whatever.
this is the big one. You put your phone down so the screen can't show.
Right? Then, okay. So if you put it and you're hiding it, there's something on there you don't want your significant other to see. Why? Why? And maybe it is just somebody sending you cute little emojis or whatever, but you know they like you. And
Correct.
you don't want your spouse to know that.
Correct. And as women as well. Now there are women that go out and seek men on social media.
Yes, on purpose. Yes.
They seek them.
Mhm.
And you guys are the target, and they already got their eyes on you. They already know what they're going to do to you, what they're going to say to you. They already know that they're going to message you.
They already know it. They
And when
already
you
know it.
open up that can of worms and you continue and you know that it's wrong, then guess what? You're a victim.
Correct. And women, here's to women. If you are going after a man that's married, okay? And even if they tell you, oh, my wife and I are having trouble and we sleep in separate bedrooms and blah, blah, blah. If they are not divorced,
Yes.
they're probably not going to leave their wife for you.
Mm-mm.
And it's hurtful on every account. So there's
And another thing, if they're not divorced,
yeah.
I mean, if I was old, I'll say, you know what, whatever. Because guess what? I'm not divorced. You're not getting a quarter.
Right. You're not even getting a dime.
You're not even getting a dime. You're side chick Thursday.
Yes. And don't be a side chick.
And you're not going to any family reunions, and you're not getting a quarter. So you're really emotionally, you're making yourself hurt.
Yes.
More and more for the next good guy that might come along.
Correct. And then you tie yourself up in knots, women, that when's he going to call me next? When's he going to text me next?
Yeah.
When is that going to happen? When he's doing that around his kids' schedule, his work schedule, and when he can talk because his wife can't see the phone.
Yeah.
So then you've tied yourself up in knots.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking about the other woman point. If you even think that you were doing the right thing, because he said he was leaving his wife, he said he was doing that, and they haven't done it yet, you're going to be an emotional wreck because he's just playing you, or he can't get out of it for whatever reason. He can't get out of it.
He's going to play you and string you along as much as he can, and he cannot get out of it. And what's going to come first is his family. You don't come first.
Correct. If he's got kids.
Who's going to come first is the woman with the ring on her finger. Who's going to come first is that woman. You're not going to come first. Correct. And if you think you are, you're crazy.
You're crazy. And I feel bad for women that have gotten caught up in that, because usually they're the ones we want to vilify because they're the ones being the cheater. But sometimes a guy isn't honest and they're not telling you that, oh, I'm still living with him. I have no intentions on leaving. And
Oh, yeah.
so it's a whole thing. You just really need to make sure the guy that you're going with is open and available to you so you don't hurt another family and you don't hurt yourself.
That is absolutely correct.
Yes.
Now, people want to talk about the presidential election, Lizzie.
Yes, they do.
Who do you think is going to be the candidate for the conservative and for the Republican and the Democratic side? Who's going to be that top pick?
I think the top pick is going to be Donald Trump for the Republican ticket. Now, does that mean that they're going to let him win? I don't know. I don't think so, unless we can get smarter to figure out how to fight the same battle they're fighting.
Okay.
The Democrat pick, I'm not sure. Some said Gavin Newsom, some say, Michelle Obama. But to be honest, it's going to be whoever Obama and his handlers want.
Do you think Michelle Obama is going to run? I've heard Michelle Obama, but I kind of don't think that she's going to run, because I remember Michelle didn't want her husband, after that second year, I think she said, this is kind of it. We're kind of done with politics. Now, will Michelle Obama come out and help and speak for someone? I think yes.
Yes.
But I'm kind of in and out about her running for office.
Right. I am too, because I really do not know who the Democrat person is. I think in the end, if Joe doesn't run again, maybe Gavin Newsom, but he's almost too of the obvious pick. Maybe at the nth hour, they spring somebody on we haven't even thought of.
Do you think it might be Harris? You think it might be VP Harris?
No, I don't.
You don't think she's going to run? Okay.
I think she would like to, but I think she's one of the most unliked person in the Democrat Party by Democrats.
Okay.
So you can't even say that Republicans do or don't like him, because of course we don't. But on the left, when she was running as one of the candidates to be the presidential candidate, she was like the 10th. She was like the 10th on the list. So I just don't think even Democrats like her. I really don't.
So Greg C just asked me, what is the attitude with the Black community and Republicans? So I'll say that, and Trump, from your perspective. Well, I think Republicans have not made their mark in the Black community as they should.
I agree.
Me being a conservative woman, I think that they have not made that mark. And I think that they need to, the way that they really can make their mark is they need to get other minority conservatives that are from the very communities, not just go and get a minority conservative, because just going to pick a minority conservative does not make them have the same presence and the value, and understanding of what goes on in the impoverished communities. Because we always know, let's call a spade a spade. Some minority conservatives that grew up in the more upper echelon homes, they grew up in Republican households, right?
Correct.
So, they are conservatives, and that's their way of thinking from that childhood age. But I think Republicans need to really take a seat back and handpick minority conservatives that can actually relate, that are relatable,
right,
to other minorities that have grew up in impoverished neighborhoods. And I think that is the biggest downfall of the party.
Right. I agree, because they're not reaching.
Downfall. And their excuse is, well, they won't vote for me anyway. And that's not true.
Right. That is not true. And I agree with you.
That's not true. And so Abe Rivera said Republicans are misrepresented by the Dems and media. Well, as long as Republicans do not reach out to a vast majority of people, and I'm not just saying they're voters, they will be misrepresented. Because honestly, I can say that there are a lot of conservatives that have helped me. And I mean, have helped me out a lot. But I still see the weak link, and the weak links are the ones that do not reach out to other communities. And there are some really good minority conservatives that want to that want to work across party lines for the betterment of the American people. There are, and right now we have to work across party lines, because there are people on the Republican and the Democrat side that's suffering. It is now time to make history. We made history years ago when there were more Southern conservatives that were Black.
Correct.
And you can't erase history.
No, you can't erase history. And I agree with you. And there is a lot of conservatives that don't agree with me on this, where we have got to reach across the aisle. I know that Republicans think Democrats are awful. But if you look in like local levels, anywhere you are in the United States, you can cross party lines to get things done.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about the top level nationally. We have got to reach across the aisle and look at them as a human and get a dialogue going on. Because if we don't, this country is doomed if we don't do that.
Yes, we are. And we will never get what we really want. People say, well, politics, politics. Well, this Dem over here, and this Republican over here. Now, I don't like this person because they're a Democrat, and I don't like this person because they're a Republican, and I'm not going to do that. I have people that are on the Democratic side that have helped so many of my patients, that have talked to me, that respect me, and I respect them. And I have people on the Republican side that I love, that have helped me, that I know I wouldn't be the businesswoman that I am if it wasn't because of them. My biggest gift from the Republican Party is my mentor, John Harrington from Boston. That's my biggest gift from the party.
And is he Republican or Democrat?
He is Republican, graduated from Harvard, third generation Republican.
That's wonderful.
Deep down Republican, but he gets meetings of people together. So all my pictures out of town with all these stars and people that I will never be able to reach in my life. Who could, when I sent you guys that picture when I was in Newport, who could put me in the position to have met, the pilot for Biden and Trump, who flew the Marine One for the president?
That's beautiful.
Who's a veteran? Who could put me in the position to meet, the ambassador of India to the United States. So I have been in some pretty high places because of him. And he has helped me. He's helped me a lot. So I can't say that Republicans are bad. And I can't say the Democrats are bad, because I have older women that their boots are on the ground. I have people, their boots are on the ground. They put everything beside them. A great older woman that I think everyone should follow is Shameen Clark Hubbard. She's the former, it was the former 26th ward, and it is the 10th ward now. And she's really making her way in Missouri politics. And Shameen does what she has to do for the people she serves in her district. She has helped me with my veterans. If I make one call and say, this veteran is in your district, and do you have this program? I just want to know about it. Can you tell me about it? She is on top of it.
That's wonderful. And she's a Democrat, correct?
And she's a Democrat. And Shameen she's known to be a leader. So we got to get rid of that. This side doesn't help. And Greg, see, I'm so tired of the us and them. And you're red, you're blue, you're black, you're white. And let me give a prime example. How could it be us and them when, if you're Catholic, you don't believe in abortions? 9 times out of 10, you do not believe in abortions.
Yeah.
But you vote for on a Democratic ticket, a party, right?
A lot do. Yes.
Right. But not believing in abortions is more of a conservative Republican value, right?
That is true.
So does that make you a Republican, or does it make you a Democrat?
You assume that makes you a Republican. That's what most people assume. And the abortion, and I am pro-life for sure. And a lot of people that are pro-life are going to look at me and you're saying, but you have to look at more than one issue. And I hate to say that because I am for life for everyone. I'm not even for the death penalty because I think this is only God's decision to kill people.
Yeah.
But I am also not a person who, if a woman has had an abortion, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want her in jail.
Yeah.
So some people say that makes me pro-choice, but it's a hard enough decision to make. And that's another thing that sometimes we have to get to the men, because
Yeah.
you don't even have to be with the guy necessarily, but we need to make the guy stand up
Yeah.
and also be part of this and make consequences to the guy.
Yeah. And so go, piggybacking off of that, there are a lot of decisions that are very hard because of your religious beliefs.
Yes,
There are a lot of decisions that are very hard because of educational beliefs. There are a lot of decisions that are very hard because of how you grew up. And those decisions, I think, ultimately is up to the person. And if you want to vote for a Republican, that is fine. And if you want to vote for a Democrat, that is fine as well. But I think getting the word out as to what each candidate stands for, because I might be running for office and there are some things that I might not believe in because of religious beliefs. There are other values that I might bring to the table that will outweigh everything else, that one thing that you don't like,
Exactly.
And so we are stuck in America at this pivoting point where, I don't want to vote for them because they're a Republican. Well, guess what, baby? There are more Republicans that are secret Republicans that you don't even know that are Black.
Correct. You're absolutely right. And Abe's saying that he believes that we are all way more alike and have a lot more in common, and we know what's happening. There's a middle ground that we can absolutely have, but there's pressure by the media, there's pressure by our friends, there's pressure because the whole thing has become so pivotal right now that we have got to play nice in the sandbox.
Do you know, I have had people call me and say, Nicole, and this is secret, because it has to be a secret because of the backlash. And that shouldn't be.
That's right. It shouldn't be.
You should be able to vote who you want for. You should be able to speak to who you want to speak to publicly. You should be able to say what you want to publicly, as long as it's not disrespecting anybody else.
That's exactly
I have had people call me that are minorities that have said, Nicole, I don't per se like the people that are following Trump, some of the people that, go outrageous. But I actually like his policies.
Correct.
And I've had people say, I like Joe Biden, but I don't like, Trump. So who you vote for, I think this next presidential election, America, we're in this whirlwind right now. And I think we should all be adults about who we want to vote for.
Correct.
And what we want to do, and not be bamboozled by someone else. I think we need to really be engaged about what the policies are, what we truly believe in, what is my household value, not your household value, Lizzie, not the group, but my household value. How do I think this president can move America and the people that are in my same melting pot along? They're in my same socioeconomic, background with my status. How can they move me along?
That is a very, very good point.
That we need to ask each other instead of getting grouped up in these groups. Well, I'm with this progressive group, and I'm with this group, and I'm with that group, and you find your tribe, and you get with that group.
I agree with that. And I have been guilty of, I never was before the whole 2016 election. I had friends from every political beliefs. I always leaned to the right, but I had friends in every group. And it was interesting in the 2016, that almost had to change because people on the right were not going to talk to people on the left. People on the left were not going to talk on the right. And I got sucked up into that too. I didn't block people or anything because they were different, but I fought back harder than I ever would. And when I look back now, me fighting like that changed nothing. It changed nothing except for the fact that I wanted to be right. And now I've already tried that. So
Mhm.
now I am very much for crossing the aisle. And I'm pissing a lot of conservatives off when I say that. But I can say, just in the state of Missouri, if you didn't reach across the aisle, and we talked about this on the show last week and the week before,
Yeah.
that there was poisonous water, and it took a Republican and a Democrat to cross the aisle to actually get anything done. Now,
Yeah.
you don't have to agree with Cori Bush. You don't have to agree with Josh Hawley, which is the two that came together,
Mhm.
but now they got something done.
They got something done for the betterment of the people.
Yes, exactly. And so I have totally changed my tune, and I am thrilled that I work on Cancel This, because Vic knows that I am myself is very right wing due to small business, less taxes, military, police, pro-life, all of it.
Mhm.
But I want to use this platform to actually get something done, not just talk about it. Because when I was just talking about it before, I actually got nothing done.
Yeah.
But since I've been able to have this platform and talk to people like yourself, Nicole, some that are Democrats, you're a conservative. Well, you're not. You're a Republican, correct? I don't
Yeah,
want
I'm
to
a
put you in a
conservative.
box.
Yep, I'm a
Yes.
conservative. I consider myself an independent conservative because
Yes.
I am, there's no way where I grew up and I cannot be, I grew up on the west side of St. Louis. So there are certain battles that I know still exist, and I'm trying to figure, since I've been in politics, and really DC politics, the swamp down in DC has really trained me to be this go-getter, to really
Yes.
look on things from the both sides of the aisle. And I again, my mentor always says, look at things on both sides of the aisle. And he introduced me to the book James Baker, The Man Who Ran Washington. And he was the man that he went across party lines. When he stepped into the room, deals were made.
Yes.
The top 4 things you want as a Democrat, put them down. The top 4 things you want as a Republican, put them down. How can we make this work?
Correct. And we've lost that in America. We've lost the ability to speak somebody different from us. It even goes back to the mean girl we were talking about.
Yeah.
They could be right or left or whatever, but if we don't agree with someone these days, we just shout them down. We
Yeah.
just insult them. We just don't look at the bigger picture, but we have got to look at the bigger picture. And I'm thrilled to be, talking with you, and we've become really tight friends because we believe the same. However, in the same token, we have differences.
Yeah.
And we want to help. We want to really do something. We want to
Yeah.
fix it. And if we don't take our hand and reach across the aisle and befriend people different than us, we were going to get nothing done.
Nothing is going to get done. It's going to continue to be the same.
Yes.
And these are the problems that we have in cities, where we got this gun violence and then the poverty level. Nothing will ever change. And if you continue to keep people down and you continue not to have these conversations as if these problems don't exist.
Yes.
Then these are the ending results. This is what we're going to get. So I think it takes, Greg, for the world to be at peace. We have to be at peace with each other. And I absolutely agree,
Yes.
Greg.
I agree.
We got to be at peace with each other. And like
Correct.
Peggy said, learn not to be non-judgmental. My biggest complaint is that I get judged because of my affiliation with the Republican Party. When in fact, if you know me behind closed doors, I've sat in meetings with Republicans and told them how I feel about people in the city of color and people that look like me.
Correct.
People that grew up like me. I have no problem. I don't sugarcoat my tongue. And I think this is what the party is missing because I'm talking too much like right. I'm talking what they don't want to hear. Some. And that's why I branch out outside of St. Louis. But I can say that the St. Louis Republican Party they've embraced me. They're beginning to understand who I am. And the only thing we can do, Lizzie, is we can come together. Now, maybe we need to run for office. Maybe we need in the future to show how it needs to be done. And I don't care if it's on a small level, how two women from two totally different backgrounds,
Yes,
from two totally different sides,
Yeah.
How we can move St. Louis forward in a way that it needs to be moved.
Exactly. And I have a vested interest in that now, where I didn't. I grew up, till I was a teenager in Delwood, which was North County. And then now I live in St. Charles County, but we own property in St. Louis City. And two of my children and my daughter-in-law now live in St. Louis City. And I have seen it. And this is a national podcast. So look at any of your cities and wherever you're at. There is good things about the city. I have seen a whole new thing just in my own brain about the city. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So the suburban girl does want to help not only the suburbs. I want to do well by the city. I want to do well for all individuals instead of just talking. We've got to do something about it. And the only way we can do it is to make good relationships with all kinds of people and not be a mean girl ourselves.
Yeah, and recognize really what's going on. And, when I went down to Baltimore, when Trump said Baltimore was a dump, it stinks, it's trashy,
Yeah.
I wanted to see for myself. I was sent to Baltimore with two other liberal conservatives, and I went. And I put the pictures up, and I can say it was a stinky, trashy dump.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was poverty like I've never seen it.
Yes.
It was trash stacked up in buildings. And this is not anything anyone told me. This is my own eyes. It made me cry. It was disgusting. And whoever was running that district ought to have been ashamed of themselves.
Absolutely.
They didn't pick up trash for those people. And I have a thing with any politician. I don't care who you are. Just because a person is poor, you don't treat them like they're poor. Because, you got poor in the rural areas. And you got poor. You got poor in St. Louis City. So just because, you got poor in Pulaski County, you got a big heroin meth, like addiction, where these children are being taken. The mothers and fathers are so bad on meth that the judges, like these court cases are backed up.
Yes.
Okay. From taking these children are in these homes while the parents are the meth is just they're going nuts there. So, we have to understand that there's poverty on both sides.
Yes, there is poverty on both sides. And that's the problem, is we have to pick a side. We have to be right. We have to be left. And where you and I do agree is I would be considered an independent conservative.
Yeah.
Because at one point I wanted to be a Republican, but there's damage being done in both. So, and we're not at the point we can have a third party. So we have to pick a choice, but there has to be more people like us that are crossing the aisle, being non-judgmental, looking at groups that maybe are not like us to make a difference. Because you're absolutely right. There's white people that have huge meth addictions, and it's so scary. And then there's Black people with meth addictions that is so scary. And so we have to look at the whole big picture. And God put us here for a reason. So our reason isn't here to just bitch and just use our soapboxes to pick a side. And I was guilty of that. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to actually use our platform to help people, to make a difference. And like Donna's saying, she quit church because it was too political. Right and left. You can go to church and have it a social justice DEI program, or you can go and have it just a right-wing rah session there. We need to get back to just being people that God created us to be. And I know not everyone that listens is a Christian, but if we did that, we would make a humongous difference. It sounds Pollyanna-ish, but it's not. It
Yeah,
really isn't. It can be
you're
done.
right. Let the church be the church, because I don't
Yes.
remember growing up in church and they talked about politics. I remember growing up in church and they talked about church. I remember going to Sunday school and it was about church. It was about what God wanted us to be. It was about reading the Bible. So, we turn everything into politics, and politics don't belong everywhere. It doesn't belong in the workplace. It doesn't belong in church. There's certain things in politics you shouldn't even be talking about it.
Correct. We shouldn't be talking about it in our schools either. And our schools are an indoctrination camp. And that is a political thing to a certain extent, but it shouldn't be. Just teach our children to read and write and do, arithmetic. And we have to teach children to share. And that's a lost art, because our children cannot cope. Just like we were talking the mean girls earlier, we can't cope. Our kids can't cope, because we don't know how to be nice to each other, and everyone's angry, especially our children.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and again, the message to ladies is women have so much going on. We're mothers, we're housekeepers, we're employees, we're cooks, we're business owners, we're progressing, we're politicians, we're change makers. There is no way that us as women, we have to be so mean and so cutthroat and I'm going to get you, I'm not going to get you because I shouldn't have to get you. So why do you have to get me? Why we should stop that? You don't see men walking around, I'm going to get you. You see men, if they're mad at each other and they have a disagreement with business, they might have a disagreement, and most of the time they make up.
Right. And they make up fast.
Yeah.
They make up, like, they'll have a fight. And in the olden days, of course, they would use their fists and do fisticuffs. But now they might say something mean or whatever. And within like 3 days, if they just don't talk about it again, they're fine.
Yeah.
Women are more apt to, I'm going to get her on social media and I'm going to blast her out there and I'm going to say how she hurt my feelings and blah, 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 instead of just drop it. Just, you don't have to be their friend anymore if you don't want to, but be nice to other women.
Yeah.
Be nice.
Because the woman that you gang up against and you don't even know, 9 times out of 10, that's the woman that you can get so much knowledge from. That's the woman that can help you. And usually hurt people hurt women, and hurt women hurt women. And when I say hurt women, women that are hurt, they got it out.
Yes.
And we got to find a way how to bring those women in so they won't hurt other women.
Correct.
Because it's not right and it's not fair. And when you see a woman that's hurt, instead of bringing her down, talk to her, ask her what's wrong. See why she's hurt. You never know what anybody. You never know. This woman, I look at women, veterans that come in, you just never know. You see the worry.
Yes.
You see the look, and that's why we're on that movement at VAUC to make it such a good place for veterans, no matter who's against it. I'm going to keep that good heart. I'm going to keep that good heart and I'm going to keep on going, and I'm going to do what I have to do for every veteran that walks through that door.
And you do that. Tell them before we leave today, what do you do? What do you get up and do? Not even as a woman, although that's great that you are. How are you helping people? And you do every day. You put your money where your mouth is, literally.
So when you think of urgent care, you think of they just come in for, the basic needs of maybe they have a cut, maybe they have a headache. We're a little bit bigger than that. It's urgent care because we do emergent needs. But we help them with PTSD. We help them with back pain, neck pain, neurology problems. We help them with podiatry problems, neuropathy, and wound care. And we also have social workers. We play chess with them. We have yoga. Shout out to Diana Lucas. We do yoga. And we think of anything we can do in that space to help veterans and to make this like their home. We make VAUC like their home. So it's an urgent care. You can walk in anytime. We're open 6 days a week now. We have some phenomenal medical providers there. And we are a community care authorized program. So the VA, it's free for veterans, but also if it's not free for veterans, if they're homeless veterans or veterans that are non-eligible at the VA, we don't turn them around, which is why we started a charity. We don't want any veteran turned around because there's a big homeless population of veterans. There's a lot of veterans with a lot of neurological problems. We help them get their DD-214s so they can become eligible at the VA. And we also have a little charity store that we're starting. And we have a lot of donations that's been given to us for clothes. And we let veterans come in there for clothes and shoes that need it. So we are a one-stop shop with social work and just with the medical needs and the well-being of veterans. And I don't employ anyone that is not veteran driven or that really is not happy, because I don't want veterans coming in. They're usually unhappy. So when you come into the doors of VAUC, we want you to be happy. We want you to listen to the jazz. We want you to get a fresh fruit. We promote nutrition. So that's what we do. And we are trying to make our mark within all around the United States. And that is what we are. We are a brand that made history in St. Louis.
And I think that's beautiful. And you hit the nail on the head that when you're looking to employ someone, look at someone that has a full life, or at least comes out looking like they do, and they're happy. Because if you employ anyone that brings their heavy stuff to their work, especially what you do, working with veterans, it brings the whole organization down. So you have to have happy faces and joyful people, because joyful people get things done. Well, Nicole, how do we get a hold of you if a veteran needs your help?
So they can walk in to 4030 Shoto. We're right in the Grove on the corner of Manchester and Shoto. Fourth floor is free parking in the back. And they can go online to www.vauc.org. Or they can call the office at 314-696-2090. And so we're doing telemedicine 24/7 now. So even when we're closed, we're doing telemedicine. We're thinking about extending our hours. So we really, we salute our veterans, and we are very happy to have you all. Thank you for serving this country. And shout out to everybody that's donated, everybody that's volunteered, everybody that supports. I would like to, I sit on the board now of the St. Louis Veterans Ball, and we are doing a big shindig. Yes. Out in St. Charles for our second ever Veterans Ball. And we want to make it the big one in November.
Do you need volunteers?
Yes.
And how would we get in contact with you? Because I'd like to volunteer.
stlveteransball.com. Or you can call up to the office for me, send a message for me, n.jenkins@vauc.org. And we're going to rock this year out for Veterans Ball. Rebecca Talman, George Herrera, the entire board. But we're going to rock this out this year for our veterans. Get your ball gowns and get dressed up.
I love this so much. Well, Nicole, thank you for being with me today for Girl Power. And I know we're going to have many more of these coming up. And you men, thank you very much for sticking with us, because women need your support too.
Thank you, viewers.
Thank you so much.
A lot of us, right, Lizzie?
Absolutely. And you guys have a great day. This was Cancel This at cancelthisshow.com. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye-bye.